Hi guys, yes, to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're making spinach and feta shakshuka. Shakshuka is commonly served as a breakfast or brunch dish, but it is hearty enough to serve for dinner or even to friends if they're coming over and you want to serve a nice meal. Just make this, it's so good, spicy, delicious, tomato-based sauce. We're adding spinach and feta to it, and then eggs get poached into that sauce. It is to die for if you've never tried it. Let's get started. So we're going to begin by finely chopping a large onion. If you don't want to use an onion, you can definitely substitute a few scallions for this, maybe 5 or 6 scallions, or 2 leeks would be a little bit milder too. Totally up to you. Finely chop the onion and add it to a skillet pan with about 4 or 5 tablespoons of olive oil and a little pinch of salt, and cook it over medium heat until the onions are nice and soft. That's going to take about 8 minutes or so. Then go ahead and add 2 garlic cloves that have been grated. Just warm them through until they're nice and fragrant, and then go ahead and add a 15-ounce can of crushed or diced tomatoes. Use the best tomatoes that you can get because you're making a tomato-based sauce and you want them to be really high quality and flavorful. Add the tomatoes in there with a teaspoon of honey or sugar because that offsets the acidity of the tomatoes and just deepens their flavor. Go ahead and give that a nice mix. And I also went ahead and I roughly chopped 3 roasted red peppers from the jar because they were a little bit on the smaller side. Add those to the pan as well and season everything with a little bit of salt, black pepper, and crushed red pepper flakes. You want to give everything a nice mix. Cover the pan and let it simmer on medium heat for about 15 minutes or until the sauce thickens, the tomatoes and the roasted red peppers start to break down. You can go ahead and mash them with a wooden spoon just to kind of help break them up. As soon as the liquids evaporate and you have a nice thick sauce, you can go ahead and add 4 to 5 ounces of baby spinach leaves. You want to add them a few at a time until each batch is wilted. It looks like a lot of spinach, but it wilts down to almost nothing. Give everything a nice mix, taste the sauce, and see if it needs a little bit more seasoning. If it does, go in and add a little bit more salt and black pepper. Now, at this point, if you're making this for a crowd, and I mean about 5 or 6 people, you could just make little wells in the sauce and just break the eggs in there and add the eggs to the sauce and then poach the eggs. But since I'm not doing that today, I'm going to just transfer a little bit of this sauce into a small saucepan and just make a small batch of it, just a batch for me because I'm going to have this for lunch today. Once the sauce cools down, you can take it and put it in an airtight container or a jar, and it stays fresh for almost a week in the refrigerator. And you can go ahead and just make shakshuka for yourself every day of the week and have it for dinner. It's such an easy meal to prepare in like minutes. Another tip, if you want to make this in a hurry, if you have pasta sauce or marinara sauce, you could skip the whole first part of this step and just cook it down until it's a little bit thicker. And if you have some harissa sauce, put a couple tablespoons in there for that red pepper flavor. It's going to be a little bit spicy, a little peppery, delicious, but it's a nice tip if you want to make this in a hurry. Mix it all together and then add the spinach and wilt it down, and you'll have a similar tasting sauce, although I do think that mine is a little bit better than that, but that's a tip for you if you are in a hurry. So I just transferred some of the sauce into a smaller frying pan, and then I made 2 wells on the side and cracked 2 eggs inside of those wells, seasoned with a little bit of salt, and then I also crumbled a little bit of feta cheese all around the eggs. Cover the pot with the lid or the pan with the lid, and then you're just going to cook the eggs over medium heat until they're done to your liking. I like for my yolk to be a little bit runny or very runny as possible, and the whites to be totally set. Now it all depends on the size of your pan and your heating element and all that stuff, but it took my eggs 5 minutes to be ready. It is time for the taste test. The best way to serve this is with some toasted pita bread or some toasted rustic homemade Italian bread or something like that. Delicious. You want something that's going to scoop up all of that sauce, and I like to break the egg and get a little bit of everything in there, especially some of that feta cheese. The spinach and the feta go so well with that tomato pepper sauce. The spinach literally melts. The feta is salty and creamy. Eggs are perfectly cooked. The tomato sauce is slightly spicy. I love peppers and tomato sauce. I think that is just one of my favorite flavor combinations. You can definitely finely chop some scallions and just garnish the top with the scallions. Fresh parsley would add some nice freshness. It's up to you however you want to make it. Give this recipe a try and let me know what you guys think. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitradishes.com. If you want to learn how to make delicious pita bread to go with this, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, us.